Okay, today's ballroom dance hot tea. Why on earth is prom dancing so popular in the United States? And for those of you who might be outside the United States and have never heard of it before, this is when the pro teacher competes with their amateur student, okay? And I am a huge proponent of amateur dancing, don't get me wrong, when you can actually find an amateur couple, but I also recognize finding an amateur couple can be a bit like finding a needle in the haystack, with differing schedules, differing goals, differing ages, there's so many variables to make that partnership functional. And I was shocked when I first turned pro how darn hard it is to find and pair up amateur dancers. I had no idea until I turned pro, and I had all these students that wanted to compete. And even though I had numerically enough people to compete with each other, it just wasn't the right match with personality, with skill level, whatever. So realistically, I want everyone to be able to compete. And I found that for most people, prom is really their only option. And so I am very grateful in the United States this is so popular and an option to us because it exponentially builds the ballroom dance world, okay? And so my bigger question here is why on earth is it so popular here? I'm broadcasting from the United States versus everywhere else in the world. It is growing in popularity elsewhere, but it definitely dominates the U.S. comp circuit. We have exponentially more prime couples than amateur, and certainly more amateur couples than pro. Although understandably, like any sport, you've got many people that do it socially, like basketball. And then you've got a less people that do it competitively in college and high school. And then you have that really elite few that do it in the NBA professionally. Dance sport is no different, guys. It is ultimately a sport and a profession. And a hobby. A joyful one at that. We all love it. Okay, so first off, in the United States, the reality is we do have haves and have-nots. We do have a lot of people here with deep pockets. And prime is not cheap. And so I do find in the countries with a little bit stronger economies where you have people with that expendable income, so China, United States, it is definitely more popular. And I do see a benefit. Hey, if you can afford it, why not? Because you get the best partner possible. And there is something to be said for not having to deal with arguing with the partner, just immediately always having that resource right there to learn how to do it correct. I get it. But when you do pro-am, it is more expensive. So just go in knowing that, okay? Secondly, because we have so many more pro-am competitors here, we have an existing biomass that feeds into it. So in biology, there's a principle called minimum viable population. Okay, so the Neanderthals, for example, didn't just die out overnight. It was thousands and thousands and thousands of years with that population going smaller and smaller and smaller to the point that you can't find partners. And dance is no different, right? If you've got a country with 10 people across the whole country doing pro-am, who are they going to compete against, right? They're not even going to see that that's an option to them. So they can't find a partner. They say, well, I'm never going to be able to compete. Secondly, in terms of competitive opportunities, okay? If you don't have an existing biomass, how on earth are you going to run a comp, right? You can't run a prime category if there aren't enough entries to pay that judging panel, guys. And it is not cheap to run a competition. Is the opportunity great to make money? Yes. But I've also known several pros who have darn near had to declare bankruptcy, sell their houses and everything because, one comp can put them under. It is expensive. You got to wine and dine those pros. You got to pay for their hotels. You got to rent the ballroom. You have to guarantee a certain number of room bookings in the room. So we definitely have a benefit in the United States here of having that biomass or the minimal viable population to make all of those competitions an option for us. And the nice thing is, I don't know a single prom comp that is not open to amateurs too, meaning the amateurs have their own category, whereas USA Dance does have kind of exclusive comps where it is closed to prom couples, although they do have teacher student. I mean, guys, with time, the rules are becoming more and more inclusive, which I love. How on earth are we going to make more ballroom dancers and better ballroom dancers if we don't make competition as accessible as we can, okay? And so because we have that thriving population here, more people see it. They see it when they show up for their beginner's dance class as a solo person. They'll see someone maybe looking a little better on the floor, like, oh, I didn't know you could just dance alone with a teacher. Certainly when I got into dancing, I just signed up for a group class. I didn't know what was going on. And so again, this is, it's not only like the comp options, it's the partner options as well. Because if a pro has never done prom, honestly, even my prom comp coming out of the chute, I was a proper trained dancer. My first comp I did was not a sanctioned comp. So honestly, I was better than all the local yokels that showed up. But I was scared, guys. Honestly, when you compete prom, I was more scared to do that because my student is paying me for my time. Like the pressure is on. Oh my gosh, I have to make them look good. So related to that, guys, if you screw up in your prom comp, trust me, your pro is way more upset at themselves than they are at you. There's a reason you're the amateur. There's a reason I'm the pro. The burden is on my shoulders, not yours. Whereas amateur, it can be a little more stressful, in my opinion, as the student, because, at that point, you're equal playing mates. And it's like, okay, well, if things go south of the border and haywire, who's responsible? Well, naturally, it's your partner's fault. You can't pull that off as a pro. It's never my student's fault. Guarantee that it's my fault. So anyway, guys, hope you found that to be interesting. If you're interested in all things ballroom dance, please hit that subscribe button. We are a worldwide community of ballroom dancers here. And I love hearing your experiences, opinions, things you disagree with. And every time I finish a video, I can think of 20 more things I should have said. So if you have something else to add here, the differences in your home country or in your area of the country, and perhaps other aspects of the American culture that have made it so darn popular here, I would love to hear that too. That's not only helpful to our other channel members, it's interesting to me too, because we all have unique experiences. So thank you for joining me today, guys. I hope you have an awesome ballroom dance day. I look forward to seeing you first thing in the morning. Bye, guys.